You're watching the Fox 5 Morning News at 7.
1 in 3 Americans suffers from skin conditions. Joining us now to talk about at-home care, Dr. Richard Chaffoo. Dr. Chaffoo, good morning. Always good to see you.
Great to see you too, Shally.
Okay, skin conditions. Why do these even happen?
So these happen because, you know, as we've talked about so often on the show, the skin is the largest organ in our body. And unfortunately, when there's a change to that, when we lose that protective function or barrier, that's when we get skin problems. So, for example, adult acne. You know, acne is the most common skin condition. According to the American Academy of Dermatology, 50 million of us suffer from acne each year. And really that's a problem, again, with our skin. We have a problem with the pores in our skin getting plugged, the ducts getting plugged, and then we get these whiteheads and blackheads, and then that can lead to acne. And again, it's all related to a dysfunction in the normal functioning of the skin.
So what do you do if you're dealing with acne as an adult? I remember dealing with this when I was a teenager, right?
Exactly. But we have as adult, well, there's maybe certain triggers, you know, perhaps it can be diet, hormonal, some of it may be genetic, stress, we know can play a factor. But the important things to remember about it is we need to open up those pores that have gotten plugged in the first place. So thinking about using a good skin cleanser to wipe those pores and then to replace the moisture that's lost with a good moisturizing agent.
I know I deal with this next condition with my children a lot.
Yes.
Thankfully, I'm not dealing with it, but I know it's common. Eczema.
Eczema, my daughter has that. And it's a very,
she does? Okay.
Yeah, or atopic dermatitis. There is thought to be a genetic component. Again, it's a dysfunction of the normal excuse me, the normal function of the skin.
Okay.
And so you can get redness, you can get scaling, itchiness.
Scaly, itchy skin.
Exactly. Sometimes a little flakiness, dryness to the skin.
Okay.
And again, the important thing to remember is that we need to try to restore the normal function to the skin. So how do we do that? Well, by first of all making sure if we're using any kind of a cleansing agent, it must be something mild. So we don't want to use something that's got a lot of chemicals, astringents. It needs to be basically fragrant free. And then after we've cleansed away the skin, we want to add a good moisturizer, but a moisturizer that's got more of a cream or an emollient base to it. And then trying to avoid some of the stressors that can be associated with eczema.
What are some other common skin conditions that you can get?
The other common skin conditions are things like rosacea.
What's that?
Rosacea is a redness or a flushing is the most common type. Sometimes you'll get little bumps, or even occasionally the skin gets very, very thick. And it's more common in women than in men, but unfortunately men have a higher incidence of this. So things that can cause increased inflammation or redness to the skin can be things like red wine, caffeine, you know, certain spicy or hot foods, things that we all love. Exactly.
Okay.
And so we want to reduce those stressors as much as we can, and that will reduce the risk of getting rosacea.
Okay. Any other skin conditions that are
Psoriasis is something that can be a very devastating skin problem. Again, we don't really have a cure, nor do we really understand completely. But what happens, Shally, you can imagine our skin, normally it turns over about every 30 days in normal skin. Unfortunately, people that have psoriasis, the skin turns over every 2 to 3 days. Well, the skin won't shed. It just builds up as layers or scales on the skin that can occur in joints like the elbows or the backs of the knees or the scalp. And so in those types of situations, again, it's important to actually cleanse away those dead layers of the skin that we talk about, a double cleansing agent, and then following that with a good moisturizer. Remembering common things like humidifiers are helpful at moisture at night, and not forgetting adding water to our daily diet, which most of us, including myself, are guilty of not doing enough of.
Yeah.
And those are the main things for psoriasis, but it can be a devastating problem. But there is treatment for all these skin problems. We have to think of our skin as the way that we reach out to our environment. So if there's a problem with the function of our skin, that allows pollutants, chemicals, and other irritants to get in and can result in these skin problems.
If I knew then what I knew now.
Right.
Things I would do differently.
Exactly.
Dr. Chaffoo, thank you.
Thank you, Shally.
Fox 5 Weather, sponsored by your SETI.